Erie Art Museum Plant of Knowledge.
Come visit me, come visit me.
So what's your name?
My name is Kelly Armour. I'm the Education and Folk Art Director.
Okay, and so what does someone in your position do?
My job? Well, as the Director of Education, I oversee all of the educational programming at the museum. So I oversee all the tours, all the outreach opportunities that we have. I also create relationships with educational organizations, schools, universities, teachers.
So such as Barron?
Such as Barron.
Okay, cool. How would you describe the museum?
Describe the museum. Well, the Erie Art Museum is different from a lot of medium-sized museums in that we started as an artist organization. Most private, nonprofit museums were started by a wealthy family. And they endowed the museum with their family's art collection and with a good chunk of endowment money. And so that, you know, you've got the Carnegie, you've got other museums that are named after their benefactor, and those museums have the blessing of having this kind of stable financial base. But sometimes they might feel a little limited when it comes to breaking new ground because they feel that they need to keep to the original vision of their benefactor. We started as an artist organization, so we've never had much of an endowment, but it's always been easy for us to reinvent ourselves, and we've always had a real strong connection to the community because it's been comprised of artist leaders. So
From the community,
Mm-hmm.
right? Okay. So saying that, how do the community and the museum relate? Like you said that they were initially a big part of it, so how are they still?
well, we consider our collection, we are a museum, so, and we haven't been a museum since the early part of the organization. The organization started in 1898 as an artist club, an artist club. Then they eventually got their own house, their own space that they could call just their own in the middle of the 20th century. By 1980 or so, they had completely outgrown that space, and the organization was ready to take the next leap to become a museum, and that's when the organization moved to this facility here. And they also decided to become a truly collecting institution, that is, to really work on creating a collection of art objects. So now we've got, I think, I want to say, over 7,000 works, maybe over 8,000. I'd have to check for sure. Yes, yeah. And we consider those objects the wealth of the community, that they belong to the community. We are the stewards of those objects, but they belong to the community. We also feel like it's, you know, our board of directors wants to make this an organization that will appeal to lots and lots of people. Doesn't matter it doesn't matter their cultural identity or their religion or their gender or their economic level. They want as much things happening that will appeal to lots and lots of people. So that's important to us. But it's also important to us not to just give the community nice stuff that's happy and maybe not that high quality. I mean, it's also important for us to give the community really high quality stuff. And sometimes art makes you feel good and is healing, and sometimes art makes you think.
Yeah.
So, and that's important too. It's important to balance those things.
Sure. Okay, so you pretty much went over what the museum contributes to the community in these works and these pieces. So I guess we'll move on to what is your favorite part about the museum?
Well, one thing is I love giving tours. I love giving tours, especially to kids, because they don't worry about they don't worry about sounding stupid, which is the drag about sometimes working with adults, is that they stop themselves before they say anything interesting because they're afraid that they don't They don't know what they're talking about, you know. But kids, they'll just say whatever's on their mind. And that's the wonderful thing about art, is that you don't need to be an expert to have a great experience and to have an interesting thoughts to say about it. So, I mean, when I'm training interns or sometimes art education students here at the museum, I say, now, you know you've done a good tour when all you want to do when the tour is done is talk about how brilliant the students were. Because they noticed things that you'd never even considered before. Then you know that you've had a great tour.
Right, right. Okay, so I guess last is, why do you believe that the community should keep supporting the Art Museum?
Well, because it's their institution, and that art is this, it can be so many things. The Art Museum is essentially, it's a social and intellectual place. It's where you go to have a social and intellectual experience through the aesthetics of the art. And that there's no other museum in town. You have to go to Cleveland, Buffalo, Pittsburgh for another museum. And that we will never cater to empty celebrity here at the museum. We won't. We won't have an art show because it's a famous artist. We will show great art, and we will make sure that we have a variety of changing exhibits that in as diverse as we can make it, and that it's always going to be great art. It might not be art that they've ever heard of, but it'll be great art. And also, it's that a healthy community means that there's healthy arts institutions. I mean, that's what. I mean, it's not just artists that come to the Art Museum. We have architects come to the Art Museum. We have graphic designers come to the Art Museum. We have hairstylists, believe it or not, that come to the Art Museum. We have writers and poets. We have engineers. They all come here because they want inspiration, because they want new ideas, because they want to look at things differently. And that's why we're here. And that's why the community should, we support the community supports us.
So much more than just art.
Yeah.
Thank you for your time.
Oh, you're welcome.
We're good? This was great.
Come here. It's because everything here is yours. It's all everybody's in this entire community. No matter who you are, like all this stuff in the 1950s, streamlining America, it's all part of it. All of this stuff. You're missing it. It's just your fault if you're missing this stuff.